Welcome to Memoirs of Successful Women. Today, my guest is coming all the way from South Africa. It is Dr. Khomotšo Mashalane, who is an outcome-based women's empowerment leadership expert. She's a trainer, she's a coach, she's a mentor, she's a humanitarian, she's a philanthropist. She's all things just elevating women businesses globally to be able to, achieve their best outcomes with a total passion for women. She's worked in different organizations around the world, and her specialty that we're going to be talking about today is on human resources. So she's an expert in that and has a PhD. Welcome to the program, Dr. Khomotso.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it is such a delight to have you here. How about you tell the listeners, what does it mean to be pretty much a global influencer in the world of women's empowerment and being able to do lots of things over in your parts of the world? What does it mean to you? What does women empowerment mean to you?
Thank you very much. You know what women empowerment mean to me is that it doesn't mean transferring your power to another person.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying this because I've realized that a lot of people misinterpret. They think somebody's going to take the power from somewhere or share half of their power and give it to the woman.
Right,
because
yeah.
The power is within you as a woman. That's what it means to me as a woman. You have to be self-empowered, be connected to the power within.
Yes.
Because everybody was born with the power within. And as long as you do not feel that power within, no matter what power comes your way, you will not be able to translate it to something that will be productive. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important as a woman to align yourself with the power within and know how to align with that power. So it goes back to authenticity and feeling yourself. You have to be able to feel it because power is alive.
Mm.
Power is alive and it's a living thing. I mean, really, it's not tangible. It's not always tangible, but the outcomes can be tangible. Some of the outcomes are tangible. Some of the outcomes are not tangible, but it begins with self. Because nobody's going to give you that power. You are already powerful.
Yes.
So what happens is that as people, we must just help one another to redirect each other to connect to the power within. There are people who don't know how to connect with their power within. It's not their problem. It's not a mistake. It can happen. Because there's a lot of things in life, especially in the lives of women. We are dealing with a lot of things. But it's important to embrace everything in totality. Look at a holistic approach of how you look at this. Don't let things, don't let that power be consumed by other things, because it is where you draw your strength. It comes from a whole lot of things. It comes from your beauty. It comes from your femininity, your feminine energy. Don't suppress it. You're a woman for a reason. So that femininity, your feminine energy, how you do your hair, whether you want to wear your pink or you want to dance or you want to go party, that's you. It's your power. So make sure that that's number one. Tap into it. Nobody is gonna come with a tray and give you power. It will never happen because a lot of people have this expectation. It's good to have an expectation, but expect more from yourself. Yeah, because the most important challenge of women empowerment is you.
Yes, it's self-empowerment, isn't it?
The improvement and all other things that we'll discuss today or in other episodes.
Yeah.
And that is why I want to gear this not only for women, but for men as well, because it seems other men also think, we transfer, we don't blame, but it's important to realize you do have the power. You have to realize that.
I think that's a fantastic way to start this episode and this discussion, because that's exactly it. We often think of power as I want someone's power, I want the power, whereas you actually are already self-empowered, but you don't know that. Sometimes it's your lack of awareness, it's your lack of activation of that power. And I find that people that I coach, they've got two issues happening there, and it happens on both sides. On one side, as you've said, they're waiting for someone else to give them the power. They're asking someone else to be that vessel. They're asking someone else's permission to access. And then they're also limiting the power they have already because of their life experiences, because of the messages that have already. So on both sides, it's really hard to sort of say, well, I don't feel, when you don't feel any power, or you can't even find your voice, or you don't know what you're trying to channel, if you like, it's because it's kind of, you're having problems at both ends. So it always has to come down to that self-empowerment. So let's take that thought then, those listening in around the world, and let's have a little journey into Khomotso's professional experience. Tell me about your career. You've been specialising in human resources across your businesses. I know you do business coaching, and you've worked in many, many organisations. Tell us a little bit about how you got into your career and how your career developed.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm a teacher by profession. I studied a BA in education and an honours in education. But my love was social work. My first love was social work. I really loved social work. So I was still young. So, I didn't get a lot of encouragement. That's, one other problem about, wanting validation from other people who are around you. So I got discouraged. I decided to follow teaching, which is not very different from social work, but it's not necessarily social work. And I worked in a corporate environment for a long time until they appointed me as a human resources manager. And I asked that man, why do you appoint me? I don't even know human resources. He said, you are the person. And that is the man who believed in me. He's a white man now who relocated to Australia. And I don't know, I realized that, but you can't be a human resources person if you do not have the qualification. But fortunately, I have a BEd, which is an honours in education. So I decided to study a master's in human resources. And that helped me a lot. And fortunately, I just have this passion to help people. My first love was social work. So it came very easily. Social work and human resources, they blend. There's harmony there if you look at them or if you research carefully. I also know a lot of things. I design clothes. I'm a floral artist. Like so many things. I cook. I'm a good cook.
You're creative. You're very creative.
Yeah, very creative. I just believe in balance, that, as a person, you have to be very balanced and appreciate and embrace everything. Don't be too hard on yourself, and you are work in progress. And so when I was a human resources manager executive, the thing I noticed more were the things that were not in the books. In the books, they tell you about employment equity. Women, make sure that they perform. Make sure that this one performs. If she doesn't perform, then we give her 9 months. But I told myself, I'm not even going to think out of the box. I'm just going to get rid of the box. I want to understand this. So I realized that a lot of people, I'll say women here, because our focus is women, they have problems that do not originate at work. And who's going to address that? Because you see, the work environment is a miniature society. It's an extension of society. You cannot separate the two. And if you address a problem at work, or you address a person that is not performing at work, you are dealing with only quarter of the problem at that particular time. That person is going to go back to that problem that existed, and that's where the original problem is. That is why I decided that, you know what, I want to focus on the real problems, the harassments at home, the societal norms that are imposed to women, the cultural norms that are imposed to women. And we are not saying it's men of today who imposed those norms. Those norms were imposed, I don't even know, 300,000 years, whatever. I don't know. But you see, here is the problem. We are living in a different world. Why I decided to change, and that change started with me. That is why I think some of the people will not understand me, because I have a vision. And if I want to impact people, it has to start with me. Because you know what I've realized, Annie, is that now, where we are now, we are propelled by digital technology.
100%. Yes.
And economic globalization. Now, my question is, when women are still stuck and given those rules, and in other countries they're even worse. Do you understand? You cannot even be a professional or anything. And these people have dreams.
Yes.
You see, now, how do you align progressing through as a woman within this environment where we have change, this digital change, there's so many changes that you can see. I mean, you can see, even after COVID-19, there are so many changes. I can't even mention that. There are so many. And the world is changing fast. But a woman must behave in a particular way. We expect you to behave in a particular way. You have to dress in a particular way. As far as I'm concerned, that is very limiting. And as women, I think we have allowed ourselves to be controlled. I'm going to use that word, controlled. Or we like to conform as well.
Yes.
And we also like affiliations, which are so unnecessary. Annie, I don't have unnecessary affiliations of groups where we want to belong because we want people to accept us. Once we lose these things, once we let go of this, the language and how you talk to yourself, because how you talk to yourself is important. There's power in the word. When we give bad things a voice, or things a voice, they will come alive and they will prosper. So don't focus on things that you don't want to embrace, or. So it's important as a woman to make sure that you have that self-understanding. You really don't need validation.
I think
You are everything.
Yes, you're everything. You're more than enough. You've used a very strong word there, control, and it is, you are being controlled in some social circumstances, some cultures, and so how do you help to in your role in HR from a very social work perspective? How do you get the very best out of those women who say, but I still don't have a choice. I'm in a situation that I can't get out of. I'd like to leave or change, but I feel that I can't for my own physical, psychological, financial safety.
I spend a lot of time with that. In most cases in South Africa, I host events, but I group them. I group women. I don't just have a general event and talk to women generally. That is not going to help, but because you cannot really use a one-size-fits-all type of strategy. It doesn't work. You have to identify the problem. Some of them will need a one-on-one kind of approach, and you start from the beginning. When you show someone that you believe in them, but actually you are just so much better, you are excellent, because that's what other people did to me. Other people believed in me. I'm where I am because other people believed in me when I even felt invisible, because it can get to that point. But when somebody, before they even teach you anything, you have to start from a premise of believing that you are excellent, you are extraordinary, you are beautiful, because that's true. All women are beautiful, they're extraordinary, they're excellent, they're intelligent, they're powerful, they're hardworking, they're resourceful, they're impactful. So, like so many things. So it's important to just draw those things. Help these people draw those things from those women. And I started doing that when I was young. I was not aware that this is something that I like. Because even when I was young, I liked to just teach, young girls. I don't even know why I thought I have that superpower or something.
Yeah.
I just thought, and I think about 7, 8 years old when we were playing, I would start teaching, and I just had this thing that, I just see women as people who are capable of becoming more powerful. In fact, women are very, very powerful. I believe in every woman, a housewife who cleans at home. That takes a lot, because you have to plan your time, everything.
Exactly.
Women are powerful. It's just that there has been this the patriarchy throughout. But you see, where we are now, there are certain things that we cannot implement if we do not evolve as people. If that culture does not evolve, of course, it differs from country to another country. We have to succeed within that culture that is not evolving. 20 years ago, we wouldn't be here having this conversation. You are in Australia, right?
Yes, correct.
I'm in South Africa. But I worry because some of these things, the world is developing so fast. And if we do not accelerate the empowerment of women within these 10 years, we may not be able to turn it around. And it's going to be worse. So it's important to really excel. And even as a woman, even though we are saying it's within you, it's not going to be a picnic. You're not going to just say, oh, I feel nice, I feel good, I can do this. That is why I want to say a few things with you, that women, when you feel that power, what is it that you need to do? You need to work hard. You need to read, you need to study. We always have voices in our heads. Silence the voices that eat away, anything that is good. We call them insects. They called in female wave of change, the training that I did, they call them insects. They eat away. Be resilient. It means where we are as women, we need a new level of resilience, and we need to maximize capacity.
Yes.
We need to really, we need to explode our invisible mind, be explosive and enhance our energy. You can't just, lie there and just read a book. We also have to do our part, you see,
Yes.
and have to discover the ladder, you see, and address your personal, profile, be an active listener, receive criticism positively, and criticize others positively. Praise other women, and remember, you are not an island. As women of today, we cannot really afford to call ourselves Khomotso, just there alone, or I'll stand there. Really, we need that tapestry. We need that unity all over the world, globally, as far as I'm concerned, because we have a common challenge. It may not be the same. Because, my challenge is that, and I mentioned this when I was interviewed in Nigeria, that my challenge, if we don't address this question of empowerment of women, it can translate into horrible things. Dehumanizing women. In other countries, women are raped, women are killed, and life, just goes on. In other countries, women are not allowed to use their own names. You have to use a husband's surname. If you're at a doctor, he's the one that is supposed to come and sign on your behalf. I know I read a certain story because I like to read and search all this. I'm like, and just to understand so that I know what I'm talking about. This woman was beaten by her husband. I don't know whether she was killed ultimately for writing her name. She was at a doctor. She was visiting a doctor, and I think the doctor wanted a signature. I think the husband was far or something like that. And she decided to sign on behalf of her. Hey, no. Yeah, in other countries, as a husband, you have that power to do that. You can pour acid, you can do whatever. So, you see, when they translate to such, acts of dehumanizing others, that's where I worry. Although I do understand that we want to also, climb the ladder as women, we want to succeed.
Yes.
But let's not forget that there's another woman out there who's been forced to marry a very old man. There's still gender mutilation. They say it's culture, but you see, any culture that does not evolve, as far as I'm concerned, there's a problem with that culture.
Yes, exactly. And it might be culture, but it could be a part of culture that then at time of evolution needs to be stamped out. Like there's plenty of things that historically have happened in all cultures, but it doesn't mean that you have to keep it because it's been in culture. If it is not a good outcome, if it's not supporting someone's, human rights, then it really needs to be confronted and spoken about, and what you're saying, child marriage, child slavery, genital mutilation, these areas, I think we do need to talk about them, and we do need to appreciate that they are happening in areas of the world which it is and remains unacceptable. And I love the way that you've approached your world as an expert in human resources, because that's right. If you're working in a company and a multinational corporate, you've got individuals, everyone's human. You're going to work for that third of your life, and you've still got those issues. Those issues are happening in your home environments, in your friends' environments, in yourself personally. And so I love the way you look at people holistically, and that's very different to the way, the book says, right? The book is all about, the policy procedure, what your entitlements are, what their expectations are. It's very process driven. So bringing a heart like yours into the world of HR is absolutely fabulous. And it would have come back to have some issues. Other people wouldn't like that because it's very personal. You would think of HR being personal, but it's actually generally not. It's all about supporting the needs of the business, not necessarily the person often, which is a surprise to people when they get their first role in, and they go, I thought HR was for us. And you go, well, not always. Which is unfortunate, very, very unfortunate.
Yes.
So as you have then grown in your career, you started off a teacher, you had a heart for social work, you've then gone and done this development and actually got the blend and thought, okay, well, I can have a social perspective in my role as HR, and you ended up doing masters, and then eventually you have got a PhD. I think it's in organizational development, isn't it?
Let me clarify it. I'm a student studying Doctor of Business Administration with Scotland. It's Edinburgh Business School. Actually, that is the one that made me really be concerned about these women issues. Because when you register for that doctorate, you have 3 research courses. And then before you choose a topic, you have to go and explore the literature out there. What is out there, so that you don't duplicate.
Yes, has to be original.
So that's when they appointed me as the ambassador of Female Wave of Change. Female Wave of Change is the one really that, like, it was as if, dealing with women's issues is my home. That's where my heart is, because I discovered a lot of things. I realized a lot of things. And then I decided that my topic is going to be around women, or about women. And I don't want something that will just be in the cupboard as a textbook or a research. I need to transform women literally. So what happened? My doctorate is an honorary doctorate. I received from Haiti. It seems there are so many countries that love me.
I know you've got an honorary doctorate from Haiti, but then you've done your master's, I think, in your other studies in Scotland. You are a woman of the world.
And last week I was called, and I was called last week I got a call from Mauritius. They said, you know what, there's this tortoise. You know tortoise?
No.
Like, it's an animal, this small animal.
Oh, the tortoise?
Yeah. Like, I don't know animals very well. Yes. It said, can you please name it?
Yes.
Okay. I said, let's call it Jabu, because Jabu means rejoice. It's a Zulu word in Africa. It's called rejoice. Happiness. Let's be happy. So my doctorate is an honorary doctorate. They say it's for people who have done noble things within the society. And if you ask me, I can't name those things. I don't know those things. And I'm honest, because yesterday I was asking myself, why are these people saying I'm an influencer, a global influencer, you are a global leader, you have done. But if you ask me, if you say list those things, I don't know. It's just me. When you do something that you know that you love, it's just you.
You're just organically doing things. You haven't done it according to a list in the biography. So I can hear it. It almost sounds funny. It's like, oh, yes, but it's just me. I'm just doing my life and my work.
I'm just doing what I love. But what I'll tell you, I read as well. I try to read, because I don't believe, that is why I encourage women, read and study. You have time for everything. women always tell me, but we are cooking and baking. But I say, I'm also cooking and baking, and I read and I finish and I study, I do masters, I clean, I do all those things. I have time, and I still design my clothes, and I arrange flowers for my house, and I finish and I do everything. Why the approach of women empowerment, why I call it outcome-based, is because I think, Annie, we have been discussing this issue for a very long time. Maybe more than 200 years, or I don't know, maybe we have just improved lately. I don't know whether it's an improvement, but here's my take. When you talk about women empowerment, we are talking about something at the behavioral level, but there's also a cognitive aspect of it. When I talk about cognitive is not something that you can just go and tell people at the conference and say, let's change this. There's a lot of behaviors. There's a language that men and women use. And it's not only men, there's a language that women use towards each other. How we also relate towards each other. How you relate to other women. Are you a multiplier? I'm going to repeat it in so many interviews because I want people to understand. When you are a woman, during this era, you have to be a multiplier. You have to identify the need, the gap analysis when it comes to other women, even if they didn't ask for it, as long as they can allow. But I think you can do better when you do this. Let's help each other. Let there be cohesion, integration, and harmony. We can't afford to criticize one another and say, that one is really. We have to support one another because, and it is very painful when this segregation is endorsed by women. And we endorse it without realizing it. Some of them in the form of being a mother-in-law.
But we don't need to be competitive.
Yeah.
We don't need to be competing against each other, right?
So you see, when you experience that, it becomes more, you are reinforcing that segregation that we don't want. But unfortunately, other women do that. I know a certain lady whose husband passed away. And after 2 years or a year, she decided to go for a holiday with other people. Then she posted it on social media. Guess who attacked her? Women.
Women.
Yes, they said, your husband passed away last year and now you are already there partying and looking for other men. So you see, what we say, men are not to blame, or like the language, what we say to ourselves, what we say to other people, what we say about other women. And I'm saying this, I'm a businesswoman, but I've noticed that if you don't take care of these other things and look at this in a holistic way, in totality, you are dealing with a quarter of a problem.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about outcome-based women empowerment because I'm not looking at this year, next year. I'm saying let's look at sustainable empowerment, which will be sustained. Your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren will benefit from that. But we can't do that if we keep on doing the same thing every day, because these are the constructs of the cultures that were there in the past. And we're not saying we lose all those cultures. Some of them are timeless. We need them.
And that's what I love about your
So we
language.
take the core of those cultures.
Yes, because it's going to have a ripple effect through those cultures across generations for period for the future. Exactly. There's so much of our life that we actually just do what's required, and when you do that, or even if you're in HR and you're getting people to reach their outcomes, they really have to just reach the minimum. If you get a bit more reward sometimes, if you're on a rewards and incentive base, but generally it brings out the lowest common denominator, and so what we're actually saying is we're trying to have this movement of people globally to realize the value of well, how about next time you lift someone up, how about you encourage them, how about you support them, how about you be that voice into a young girl's head and says, no, you go girl, you follow your dreams, you pursue that passion, you have real talent. Those words are powerful, right? The influence of people is powerful. Not to be an influencer just because you're paid to do something or for whatever reason, but you're influencing because of the positions that you're in. As we get more seniority and achievements in our life, you also get opportunities to then sit on boards as directors and influence others. And so it's an opportunity to then say, well, I want that not just to help one or two or three people. I want to have that ripple effect, because it will then, it affects individuals, families, communities. It goes out, it's going to affect, my daughters, my granddaughters, when we actually change. It also, I think, gives society hope. It gives you young people hope that things are changing and things are getting better. When you don't see that, and I pick up what you said before, that we've been talking about these things for hundreds of years, you've got to actually come to a time and go, talk's not enough. I love the way you've boldly gone and said, I want outcomes-based, empowerment. I want to be able to see that, for example, for when I know we've spoken on summits before, and you want to actually know what the statistics are for women in senior roles and on boards and in positions, and their wages and gender equity and reducing pay gaps. You want to know what those statistics are, because we want to know that we are doing things to improve those situations. And if we don't measure it, then how do we actually ever improve things, right?
Thank you so much. Now that's my language, because as an HR expert or just generally in life, when you do something and you're serious about it, if you don't measure it, we don't measure. If it's women empowerment and we don't measure or we don't worry, okay, what is our plan? What is our target? Where do we want to be in 2-3 years' time?
Yes.
What is the measure? What are the tangibles? What do you want to achieve? I mean, if you do something and you don't measure it, as far as I'm concerned, you are not serious. No,
it's just a dream. It's a hope and a dream, but it's not going to be a reality.
It's wishful thinking. We've been talking. I'm one person. I don't believe in just talking about something. You need to have. There are things that you can talk about, but I mean, this is serious. You gonna have a daughter-in-law, or you have a daughter-in-law, or your grandchild is going to have a daughter-in-law.
Yes,
it's a humanity issue. You see, so now if you don't measure it, you don't have clear tangibles, clear deliverables. What do you want to deliver? Do we know what we want to deliver? And exactly. It's no longer some, it's just a global issue. Yes. I know that we have. We spoke together. We were at the Lady Political Conference.
Yes.
But you see, you are in another country. I love it, because we need that cohesion, even if we are in different countries, but as one world, as one women. There must be a big global organization that has at least 8 8 deliverables, and there must be cohesion, there must be integration, there must be consistency and continuity of where we are going as women, and us. It must be done by us.
Yes. I totally agree. We have to drive it. Women have to drive it, because otherwise it's not going to happen. It would have happened already if men had really going to take that baton, and they haven't. There might be some quotas on some areas now, but then it might not be passionate. Women have to actually just champion that together. And I believe what you've said, that we need to do that from a global perspective, to partner with each other to be able to champion these things. I love the way, as business women also, we're talking for those listening in from the way we run a company. If we're in a company, we know what the strategies are, we know what the goals are, we know what our actions are, we know how to measure those. We'll do a lot of analytics to make sure that we're achieving what we want to achieve according to a time and a budget and social responsibilities. These areas such as gender equity and empowerment and others, sometimes they get lost, and in this discussion you can see they do, because they've been hard to measure before. So actually what you're doing, Khomotso, is actually just saying all we've got to do is start measuring what are the outcomes that we're looking for, what are the numbers, the quotas, the health standards, for every situation that disempowers women around the globe. Well, what are our goals there? And they might take 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, but that's sad but understandable. You're okay with that as long as we are progressing and we're acting together in a common cause. It's when we actually just go, that's not very good, or what do we do about that? And we shrug our shoulders and we're despondent. If people in power and influence are despondent, then how does that help that poor woman or girl in that situation? It becomes hopeless and it becomes unchangeable. And we know that we have seen mountains shift in our time in different areas of our respective lives and businesses, right? So we know that things are possible. There is hope here. We just need to actually unite together. So thank you so much for that sharing. So how have you, in your ambassador roles, director roles on world women's areas, who are you partnering up with? What does that look like to give those listening in hopeful of what people like you are trying to do, and who are you collaborating with in your certain projects?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm part of many organizations. I'm one woman who likes to say yes, like when, because let me tell you why. And in most cases, I don't get, there's something I want to tell you. And I think women must also learn this. You don't become successful because you are going to earn so much money. At times, if you really want to make a difference, just do it. You learn later. It's not everything where you will be rewarded, in the form of money. Not all currency can be measured in the form of money, but you will be so enriched. I'm in so many organizations. It's India. Somebody will send me a CV in India, and I'll be asking myself, I don't even know how I feature here. But the most important thing, you understand that this is a young person, a human being who needs acceptance, who needs love. That's what you need to do. But belonging to these organizations, it's because I want to add value, and you see, the world is different. We have different countries, but if we can really try not to focus on the borders and the boundaries, and just look at any as any, and forget a little bit about where Australia is and South Africa, and understand that we are human beings and we have common challenges, and they need us. to be together. We need to have a sort of one way of looking at things, you know.
It's a one world humanity.
It's a one world, you know, like, I mean, last year or 2 years ago, there was COVID-19, were killed by one vaccine. Nobody said in Australia they will be killed by a different vaccine. In Russia, there will be a different vaccine. The president of Rwanda is, I don't know, whatever, therefore. So let's take the commonalities, there will be differences, and build on that. And the reason why I am in these organizations and they invite me is because I feel like maybe they will hear a little bit of what I'm trying to, you know, to learn, or help people to learn and unlearn, because life is about learning and unlearning. Life is about multiplying. You as any, you need to multiply many Annies who are even better than you, so that you don't diminish the intelligence within the people. There are people who are people are intelligent.
Yes.
People are intelligent. It's just that some of them are in countries that diminish their intelligence because of the leaders they have, or they are in organizations that, or leaders, or bosses or CEOs that diminish their intelligence. So what I need is just cohesion, you know. The reason why I'm in different organizations, and some of them have to do with environmental life, you know, it's peace, it's everything. At the end of the day, gender equality is a humanity factor. It's about humanity. You can't tell me about humanity if you do not understand gender equality. And that is why I told you that if you think about other women who are struggling, who are killed, that is how gender inequality can translate. It can get to that level. But being in different organizations in different worlds, Russia is saying it's, to be honest with you, again, I don't know how it happens. I'll just get a message or something, Khomotso, we want you to do this. Can you help us with this? We want to get people, like, I've accepted that, you know, in the past 4 or 5 years, when I was at Female Wave of Change, I used to think, no, this is too much. But, you know, I've embraced it, that I think this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
I think this is what I need to do. And that is why I need to read. And I cannot have prejudice. I can't say, no, that one is from whatever, Pakistan or Russia. I can't do that. You have to tap into your highest self.
Yeah, exactly.
As Khomotso, I have to tap into my highest self all the time. You can't look at people as, you mustn't see color. You know, just see people as people, and love, and make sure that when you wake up, I don't know why this is.
That's all right. I can still hear you. You've just frozen on the camera.
Yeah. You see, the first thing when you wake up, make sure that you elevate higher. Your frequency is very, 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 very high, because, you know, and when I look at the country, it's as if I'm in my house. You know, when you are in your house, there's a bedroom, you want to make sure that everything is clean, is in order. I don't know, but it's my love, and I love reading about it and studying and understanding, because I'm a candidate researcher as well. So it's something that I love.
Yes, I absolutely, love what you were sharing there about just leaning into your genius zone and doing what you can. That's exactly it. If you can't do all things to all man, but you can certainly find one thing that you're passionate about and then just be there to enjoy it yourself, make sure that you fill yourself up. And I love what you do with your reading and your cooking, and, because you've got to be happy and healthy and balanced to then be able to have that full cup that's overflowing, that you're then able to then join these committees and be involved with these collaborations globally that can then actually help others in your area of genius, if you like. And then other people can go and help, hand out clothes to people who don't have them, help them, and, in on borders where there's wars, all sorts of things. We've all got something that we can give and to be able to help society, and hopefully those who can get themselves in positions of influence can do that much more, because you get to work in that collaborative way across the globe, and it is just incredibly rewarding. So let's just finish then, Khomotso, what are you most proud of in your career so far, or your life?
When I see the smiles on people's faces, women in particular, it makes me happy, because a woman is a nurturer. If a woman is not happy, kids are going to be affected. You will not be able to give your children enough love if you cannot connect to the love that you have. So that is what I love. It's not so many things, but what I love most is being authentic. Because you can't do what I do if you're not authentic. I'm authentic. If I want to dance, I dance. If I want to design an outfit, I design it. I sort of liberated myself. I'm not very good with being a conformist. I question a lot of things. So it makes me a bit freer. It's as if you are living your life in your own planet.
Yeah. It does make it a lot more fun, though, doesn't it? I love that. And I love what you said before, is like, you don't just have to think outside the box, just get rid of a box. Who said there was supposed to be a box, And I love that. And I'm often saying, that's right. If you you hit a wall, you then go and open another door, or otherwise you just build your own little whatever. Once you get to this stage, and those listening in, you're listening from Khomotso. This is self-actualization, right? This is why you said a while ago in our conversation that you don't do too many affiliations now, and that's what I was, for those others listening in different countries, there are different clubs and groups that you're in, and that's not being non-social. You want to do some, but some of them are just to actually have people validate who you are and what you're doing, or to even comment and then tell you what, if what you've done is good enough, not good enough. We don't need that. You're actually already enough. And so when you don't need to rely on that validation from other people, that when you do spend your time, reading and evolving and giving and just saying, how can I help? How can I serve? You will still be rewarded in ways that you cannot even imagine, personally, but society evolves, and you do get to see a lot more smiles. And I love that you said that. That's the most rewarding thing, because it is, isn't it? When you've been that one voice in someone's life and they just beam at you, or someone comes back. Sometimes it can even be a few years later. I remember back, when I used to be a nursing teacher, and someone would come up and say, you said that to me one day and I did it, and I can't even remember, right? And so, but they're profound moments in people's lives, and I think we need more role models like you out there in the world saying you can do this. You know, I will equip you, I will support you, I will empower you, and then also building these collaborations like we have. You know, if you meet some at a conference and you just go, yes, we're both doing things at opposite sides of the world, but you know, I've got you know, I'll partner with you. I've got lots of scholarships available at the moment for my coaching course, so I'll make sure that you can get those to people in real need in your area of the world, so that we can, you know, we can help each other. We can give what we can
Yes,
give in
please.
our area of niche, and other areas it's like, well, I just hope someone else is able to help them there. So, well, congratulations on a life well lived thus far. There is so much more, I know, in the future for you, Khomotso. But yeah, you're such a blessing to humanity, and yeah, I'm so glad that you decided to flip the box on the whole view of HR, and to be able to bring humanity into that, and seeing the value of real people's lives when they're going about, you know, their life and their work, and being able to then capitalize on, you know, helping them to bring out their best potential. That's all we can ask for anyone in this world. So thank you so much for being on my show today.
Thank you very much for having me.